Hey there everyone, Mazrock here, and today I'm going to be looking at some weird D&D questions that you might get at your table. Alright, so I thought I'd do something a little bit more light and fun today. So I'm in quite a few social media groups for D&D. Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, all this stuff, and we've all been at the table and we've all had a player ask a question and you just like, what? So I thought that it would be fun to kind of do a small series, maybe continue on with those weird questions that you're gonna get at the table on occasion. Some of them might be more mechanic based. Some of these might be silly, some of these might be more serious, but I thought it'd be like just a fun thing to explore as we kind of go along. So, number one, can a Warforged survive in a bag of holding? Well, let's see. Looking at the bag of holding, creatures can breathe X amount of minutes equal to 10 divided by the number of creatures within a minimum of 1 minute. Warforged do not need air to breathe. So, theoretically speaking, at the table, if I were asked this question, I would say, yeah, a Warforged can survive in a bag of holding. Weird thing to go on about, but you know what? Perks of being a Warforged. You don't have to eat, sleep, or breathe. You go in sentry mode for sleep, but that's a nice little bonus there. For the next one, now this one is kind of a mechanical thing, but I see it happen a lot, especially with people that are trying out finesse classes, is why can't I dual wield rapiers? Number one is finesse does not mean light. So if you go to the dual wielding rules, what happens is finesse allows you to use your dex instead of your strength modifier. Now listen, there's the wording on that. It allows you to. You're allowed to use your strength modifier on a finesse weapon if you like. The choice is the player's. So maybe you really want to hit someone really hard with that rapier instead of a precision strike for dex. Choice is yours. PCs have fun. But finesse does not mean light. So a rapier is a D8 finesse weapon, allowing you to use your dex modifier if you'd like, but it is not light. So if you want to rapier then dagger, you need to have the dual wielding feat to be able to do so because it is not a light weapon. And without any feats to dual wield, you can only dual wield light weapons. Daggers, short swords, things like that. So it is the light property that allows you to dual wield from the get-go, not finesse. So this is number 3. If 2 awakened wolves mate, making their intelligence 10, would their offspring have an intelligence of 10 and speak common? This would be a fun one at the table. I would actually vote that yes, two awakened wolves, because number one, casting that spell takes time, effort, and you really got to work at it. So 2 awakened wolves, if they mate, their offspring would indeed have an intelligence of 10. Now, would they speak common? That is another question, because not all awakened beasts can speak common. If the wolf knows common, and the wolves know common, I think it would be something that the wolf pup could learn. I think that would very well be in the definite ballpark. But if the player is asking me this question, I would also make them work for it as a DM. So if they say, would he speak common? Well, not off the get-go. You'd have to train him to speak common. So I think that role-play interaction of teaching a wolf pup to speak common with his 2 wolf parents and seeing what kind of dice rolls that you as a DM could come up for those sorts of interactions would be a hilarious additive to the table that I think could just provide a good comedic reprieve and be a lot of fun no matter what the situation is. And last one, can I use Tiny Hut as a submarine? Now this one, I seen it on Facebook. I'm not giving out any names on who asked these things or anything like that. I'm just gonna kind of leave that be. I did find these questions on social media from just people asking in groups. But can I use tiny hut as a submarine? I would actually have to vote no, and the reason why is behind science. So let's take a look at the tiny hut spell, and I'll be able to tell you why. So tiny hut, a 10-foot radius immobile dome of force springs into existence around and above you and remains stationary for the duration. Now you can make the argument that you cast this on water, so the water would actually move around the dome, but not, the dome wouldn't be moving itself. Not like an immovable rod would act, but kind of just like an apple bobbing, or an apple or a piece of rock going through water. So 9 creatures that you can see, medium, blah 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 blah. The spell fails if the area includes a larger creature or more than 9 creatures and objects within the dome you cast the spell can freely move. Now if we go here, the atmosphere inside the space is comfortable and dry. So what would happen here is you create your dome on water. Now there isn't an underneath to this dome, it is just a dome. But there would be a magical force underneath keeping and repelling the water. So what would happen is you would have, like, have you ever tried to take a cup, put it upside down, and plop it on water and try and push that down? It wants to come back up. It's full of air. It floats. That's what it does. That's what would happen here as well. It would actually keep the dome afloat. So you could argue that you could, in the game, I would allow the dome to be used as kind of a raft that you can't control. An emergency raft. Maybe your ship got blown up and, you need to... But you could definitely use this as an emergency raft. Now, you could use it as an emergency raft, but at the same time, it would float and keep the inside dry, but that doesn't mean that you can't go through the bottom. Right? Because the argument has been made for the tiny hut to actually, that things can burrow underneath. I'm terribly sorry if you hear my child, she's playing. I'm trying to record this video at the same time. So you would use it as a protective measure above you, but you'd have to cast it on a raft, which at the same point, like, it wouldn't really do anything. So you could do it in kind of like, if you had like a Titanic-sized door that could fit 2 people. We see you, Rose. And kind of work it that way. So as a submarine, no, because as a whole, it would float. But if you were underneath the water and you cast it at sea level, it would be a good reprieve from the water elements, because the dome would keep everything dry. So if you cast it on the seabed floor, you'd have a nice dry space in which it would act as kind of sea lab, really. So that has been my odd questions for the day. If you have any more weird questions that you might like some clarification on, that you've been asked, did I make the right call? Or if you're a player that's asking weird questions to their DM and you kind of like a DM's opinion on what they're going to say first, man, just shoot that shit in the comments. Shoot that in the comments. And I'd be happy to hear from you all. Aside from that, I stream on Twitch we are switching to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, starting in 2 weeks. So the week of November 23rd. So it'll be November 24th, which is the day after Shadowlands comes out. I will be streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And that change is going to go on there. Rhyme of the Frost Maiden is every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Actual play, I am giving away dice bags during one every session. So come on by, say hi, get a chance to win a nice dice bag. I've got some fun ones going on. And aside from that, my Etsy shop down below for those dice bags if you want to kind of see them. Patreon if you'd like to support me directly and all that fun stuff. Aside from that, I hope your next session is a fantastic one. Stay safe out there, and have yourselves a good day.